Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG Build Guide Edition. Today I'm ready to drop on you my dual shield Forge Guard Shield Bash build for last Epoch. Already over 500 corruption and doing very well. As always, I will break down every single facet of the build. Everything is timestamped in the description below if you need to bounce around. Let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting off with some gameplay. Now what you're looking at right now is 530 corruption. We are fully spec'd into shields. We are using Shield Bash, Ring of Shields, and Shield Rush. So if you're a fan of shields, this is going to be the build for you. We're also using Healing Hands and Sigils of Hope. Now, I just want to say right off the bat, we are not using Volatile Reversal in this build. Not because Volatile Reversal isn't awesome and have great synergy, but Volatile Reversal come April 2nd will be a completely new skill. So I don't want to add that skill into this build, knowing that very soon it will be changing. Give it a little more future proof. So as far as how the build works, couldn't be simpler. Whenever you need your movement skill, you are going to use your Shield Rush, and that is gonna place your shields in a wider area. So you'll actually be able to hit everybody along your path. It is really fun. You're gonna drop Ring of Shields basically all the time, and it's gonna give you a huge boost to your defenses and your damage, because the more block effectiveness you have, the stronger you are in this build. And then you run around and just spam Shield Bash. Very simple. And then you also will need to keep your sigils up as well. Your sigils will come on from killing enemies, but you will have times where you will need to trigger them yourselves, but they last a decently long time. So really, you're running around with your shield, triggering Ring of Shields, and hitting them with Shield Bash. And you are using dual shields for this build. And as you can see, even at 530 corruption, the build is pretty strong, and our gear for this build is not very good. But I'm going to show you some single targets and one of my favorite things about the build in 1 second. I think that will do it. All right, check this out. 500 corruption, fully empowered Nemesis. Watch this. All right, we're going to try not to move. And you will see, one of my favorite things about the build is he is just stunned over and over again. He'll get an attack out every once in a while, but you'll leech your life back. And without moving, that poison nemesis is dead. Shade of Oribus, and kind of the same idea. You can't perma-stun Shade of Oribus, but for the most part, you can face tank it. I know, not all that exciting, but extremely effective. Shade of Oribus, you are dead. Formosus, or I like to call it the Wraith Lord boss. This is one you got to be careful of. Cold Dot is not fun. It'll melt you quick. Come here. Shield Bash. Oh, be careful. Move. Woo. Formosus, you dead. Let me show you how to recreate this build. So now we're going to break down the skills, and I'll try and point you in the right direction on what nodes you want to take first. Starting with Healing Hands. First thing you want to do is give it a guaranteed chance when you're using a melee attack, and Shield Bash is melee. So first 4 points go into Cleric's Hammer. You're then going to come down and make this skill free, because the last thing you want to do is deal with mana issues with Shield Bash, because Shield Bash already costs a lot of mana. So you're going to come down here and make it so this is free. You're then going to come around and turn it into a melee attack, so that way you get your bonuses off of melee instead of spell. You're going to take Immobilize, Void enemies, Fear Undead enemies, then you have 2 points left over. Technically, you could put them wherever you want. I just throw them in Healing Effectiveness. Moving over to Sigils of Hope. Now for Sigils of Hope, first thing you want to do is come over to the right and get this big tree here. This is going to give you endurance threshold, more duration, extra sigil, but most importantly, block chance per active sigil and block effectiveness. Again, you're going to see this inside of the Shield Bash tree. Your main damage is going to come from your block effectiveness, and this is going to give you a bunch of block effectiveness. You're then going to come to the left, boost your overall damage, and then have a chance to summon a sigil on kill. Moving over to Ring of Shields. Ring of Shields, first thing you want to do is come up and to the left, give yourself extra shields. But this is one of the most important nodes. When shields heal themselves, they also grant them non-stacking increased block effectiveness buff for 4 seconds. You get a huge buff to your block effectiveness from your Ring of Shields. So one of the most important skills for the build. You then want to come down here and give them an extra 6 seconds of duration. So technically you can keep them up all the time. That means your shields will last 16 seconds or until they die. And the cooldown is 15 seconds. You then want to come down here to the left to boost the block chance and block effectiveness. And this node, shield wall while rushing. This is more of a fun node, not required, but I really, really like it. Moving over to our damage dealer, Shield Bash. What you want to do is come up and over first. This being the most important node, this is Indomitable Force. Damage per 40 block effectiveness +2. This is how you actually scale the base damage of your Shield Bash, again, through block effectiveness. And you want to come up here, make sure it doesn't have a cooldown, get a boost to your multiplicative damage. This is how we're able to stun lock the Poison Nemesis at over 500 corruption. Boost to attack speed based upon your block chance. You then want to come down here, get more physical damage per strength so that you are strength stacking on this build as well. And then you want to come down here. This is going to give you block chance and block effectiveness. Lots and lots of good nodes on this tree. Last but not least, your movement skill, and this is Shield Rush. First thing you want to do is come to the right and take mana efficiency, because this is a pretty heavy skill, 22 mana even with 6 points in. You're going to take damage taken while rushing, -20%. You're going to come down here and take both multiplicative damage bonuses to your Shield Rush, and then take your final hit damage also multiplicative. Those are the skills. So now let's break down the passives. At time of recording, my Forge Guard's level 95, and I will show you where I plan on putting those final 5 points. Now, looking at the base tree, obviously we're strength stacking. We're trying to get block effectiveness and block chance. So we took Juggernaut here for the resistances and strength. We took Stalwart for the block effectiveness, block chance. Less damage taken by nearby enemies. This is a melee class, very important. And then movement skill, cooldown, and health. Pretty standard setup in the Sentinel tree. Moving over to Forge Guard, nothing really exciting in the front of the tree. You need to make it to the back. So we put 10 into Stalwart or Weapons Master for 10 strength, took some armor, block effectiveness, block, and then just took some health and stun avoidance. We then jump up to Crushing Blows, more multiplicative damage per mana cost. We come down here, we're going to take strength, health, crit, melee crit multiplier. And then this right here is the money in the bank. We have 5 into Walls, which is less damage taken, 5 into Shield Crater. Chance to cast shield on block, block effectiveness per shield, increase minion health, increase minion armor. Ring of Shields is a minion. So when you block, you have a chance to create shields, and you have such a high block chance that it's making shields all the time. The more shields you have, the more block effectiveness you have. The more block effectiveness you have, the stronger your Shield Bash is. It works very, very well. Moving over to Paladin, you need to put 15 points in here to unlock Sigils of Hope. So we took physical damage and physical penetration, block effectiveness and stun, and flat health. Now the final points are all over in Void Knight. You're going to get resistances, health, leech, crit multiplier per point in this tree, and then we're just taking strength and health. So my final 5 points are going to go into this node right here to give us base health, more strength, and more crit multiplier because of this node. That is the passives. Moving over to last Epoch tools, we're going to break down the blessings, idols, and gear, starting with blessings. So what we've taken for our first one is critical strike chance, help you with your damage, all resistance, flat armor, block chance, and block effectiveness. You want as much block effectiveness as possible, and then mana. And you can switch out mana for lightning resistance if you need it. I just like having a little bit of a bigger mana pool. Moving over to idols, this is very simple. This is the main idol you want to find, and you want 4 of them. Increase stun chance, increase block effectiveness, which can roll as high as 475. The other little idols I took were just mana and health. You could also take armor if you want. Now moving over to gear, this build does have a required unique, and that is right here. This is the Monument of Protection. It's a new item that was introduced in Season 1, and basically what this allows you to do is rock two shields. The item is technically categorized as a one-handed axe. That's how EHG made it work. But the item's modifiers are actually a shield. So the Monument of Protection, awesome for the build. It gives you melee damage for shield bash and increased block effectiveness, endurance, health gain on block. It's awesome. It's also easy to find with high LP. Required item for this build. We are also using a Soul Bastion, and people ask me all the time, why do I use Soul Bastion? This item is also extremely easy to get 3, even 4 LP on this item, and it's got block chance, block effectiveness up to 1,000 on it. So we literally just use it because it is low level, it's easy to find, it's easy to slam, and it has a ton of block effectiveness on it. I really like Soul Bastion. I really like Soul Bastion. All right, other uniques, Shattered Chains, and Siphon of Anguish, not required, but I do believe they're best in slot. Around the Horn, Helmet, level a Ring of Shield, Strength, double life. Armor, Strength, Vitality, double life. Boots, Movement, Speed, Strength, double life. Gloves, Crit, Chance, Strength, double life. Ring, Crit Strike, Chance, Block Effectiveness, Resistance. Amulet, Crit Strike Multiplier, Mana Regen, Health Resistance, and Relic, level of Shield Bash, Critical Strike Multiplier, and Resistances. That is the gear. So now let's talk leveling tips and tricks. This is not a leveling guide, but kind of get you pointed in the right direction. Now for me, it doesn't matter if I'm a Void Knight, Forge Guard, or a Paladin, I level with the exact same skill, and that is Rive. It's also one of my favorite skills in the game. The reason why I like Rive is it's melee, it's AoE, it's free, and you can leech back mana and life if you want to through the passive tree. Now what you want to do is you want to come down and then up and over and get this node right here, Coupe de Grace, which is going to give you a 15% kill threshold throughout the campaign. It's awesome for killing bosses, even packs. It is an amazing quality of life as you traverse the campaign. So the first skill I recommend, Rive. Now, the next 2 skills I recommend, one is Void Cleave. This has been added into my leveling Sentinel because I've kind of fallen in love with using Void Cleave as a movement skill. And for this skill, not only does it kill enemies as you traverse the campaign, it also has a pretty far range, and it's very easy to unlock it at the beginning. So what you want to do is get these 2 nodes, and you want to put 1 point down here so it cannot be dodged. So that way you are always hitting enemies with your Void Cleave, and this is your movement skill. Now the third skill that I take is Healing Hands, and almost set up the exact same way. You want to come over here and make it a melee attack. You want to try and make it free if you need the mana, and then come down here and take fire on hit. So that every single time you are hitting with Rive, you are manually triggering Healing Hands as a melee attack, and you are Void Cleaving through enemies as your movement. You will fly through the campaign. All right, everyone, that's the build guide. What do you think of my dual shield, Forge Guard, shield bash? Is there anything I missed? Is there anything I can do to take this to the next level? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Of course, only if you think I've earned it. And if I haven't earned it, I'm going to work harder for you. Best way to support is Patreon. And don't forget to join the official Action RPG Discord. We just crossed 4,500 members. We do game giveaways every 2 weeks for just being a member of my community. Movie nights, game nights, and the brand new treasure hunt race for Last Epoch Season 2. The sign up will be in the Discord. More info to come. So I'm done. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.